Welcome to Selah. This month we've been talking about hope. And so I want to continue in this conversation about hope. The hardest thing about hope is its ups and its downs about life. Dealing with bad news, then good news, and then bad news again. And it can all be draining. But we're going to look at the Shunammite woman who encountered Elijah and how she was able to deal with what the things that we are dealing with today. And so Second Kings chapter 4, verses 8, we're going to start reading. It says, "One day Elijah went to Shunem, and a well-to-do woman was there, who urged him to stay for a meal. So whenever he came by, he stopped there to eat. She said to her husband, 'I know this man who often comes our way is a holy man of God. Let's make a small room on the roof and put a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp in there for him. Then he can stay here whenever he comes to us.' One day when Elijah came, he went up to his room and lay down there. He said to his servant Gehazi, 'Call the Shunammite.' So he called her, and she stood before him. Elijah said to him, 'Tell her, you have gone to all this trouble for us. Now what can be done for you? Can we speak on your behalf to the king or the commander of the army?' She replied, 'I have a home among my own people.' 'What can be done for her?' Elijah asked. Gehazi said, 'Well, she has no son, and her husband is old.' Then Elijah said, 'Call her.' So he called her, and she stood in the doorway. About this time next year, Elijah said, 'You will hold a son in your arms.' 'No, my lord,' she objected. 'Don't mislead your servant. Don't let my hopes up, O man of God.'" And so we're going to stop there. So this woman who felt called by God offers her hospitality to Elijah. And in return, Elijah wants to do something for her. So he notices that she has no son, and her response is a response that I believe that we can relate to. She had no son. She longed for a son, but she was content with her unfulfilled desires, and she let go of this hope. And so how many of us can relate to the idea of finding peace or settling for what we have? We don't want our hopes up just to be disappointed again. But despite her fears, she had a son. But years later, he died. And what she says to Elijah is what the fear that she hoped would not happen. In verse 28, she says to Elijah, "Didn't I tell you not to get my hopes up?" I believe that this hope was talking about a hope that was placed in the wrong place. Her hope was wrapped in her son, in her circumstances, in people, in life, but not in God. And so she may have had her hope in the wrong things, but she belongs to a faithful God who restores our hope. And so he brought her son back to life. And so when we read these stories in the Bible, I hope that it changes the source of your own hope. And I'm just going to remind you again, hang on to hope and go to God, the God who already knows you're coming. And so let's flip on over to Psalm 23 and read that together. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." And so thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the video. See you next time.